So, actually, I know for those of us being in Europe right now, it's pretty cold, and when in Yin we don't move as much, so maybe you just grab a sweater or socks, just really make yourself cozy. And then just find a comfortable position, just lie in Shavasana. And I know that is usually the pose we seal the practice with, but especially in Yin it's nice to start from Shavasana. And even though maybe, you maybe have your eyes closed, but if you maybe check the screen and you see me checking the time, it's not that I'm bored, it's just to make sure that I have an eye on the time. Otherwise we will easily end up with 3 hours of Yin. Maybe some of you would love it, but I know from my previous Insta Live classes we only have 60 minutes, and then Instagram kicks us out, so I'm just trying to stay in our 60-minute slot. So from here, close your eyes and just stay with your natural breath. Maybe you observe how the air is spilling out, in and out, through your nose. Maybe due to an allergy or the change from warm to cold that we experience these days, even though we spend most of our time indoors. Maybe it's still from the heating that you find your nose is congested. And of course you can always breathe through your mouth, so find the breath that is most natural for you. There's no need to control the breath. So in Yin we're trying to relax our muscles as fast as possible. And from the people I've seen joining this class, I know most of you that I know, you've practiced at least one Yin session with me, but if there's someone new to Yin, we're trying to relax the muscles. So in Yin we're trying to focus on the joints, or actually the tendons and ligaments around the joints. We're trying to stress those cold Yin tissues, sinking beyond the muscles. And if you ever find that there's a pose that I offer you that doesn't feel right on your body, so please listen to your body. Don't force your body into any pose that causes you any pain. This is something you don't want to have in a Yang class, and definitely not in a Yin class. So always feel your way into the pose. Let your body, your feelings guide you. And especially in Yin, there's no such thing like the perfect or exact way to how to perform. Perform is the wrong word. Do a pose a certain way. And so from here we'll slowly start moving. So we're about to enter our first Yin pose. And if you find you need to hang out here a little bit longer, of course you can stay. You can stay the whole class in Shavasana. Maybe that is the pose that you need. And within these days when, even though we're locked in at home, we're meant to stay indoors, and it kind of feels that we have so much time to rest, but maybe that is the moment that you can take 1 hour out of your day just to be still, then just hang out in Shavasana. But if you feel you just slowly want to start moving, you can reach your arms up and over your head, moving your fingers, your toes, moving your hips around. And then we will start with our left side. So with the Chinese theory of Yin and Yang, or from the Chinese medicine, the Yin and Yang, they separate the body, the human body, into Yin and Yang. So the left side, the feminine side, is seen as the Yin, while the right side, representing masculinity, is yang. So we will start with our yin side, the left side. And the first pose we do is banana asana. So you lay on with your body on the floor, relax your hips, your shoulders, and then walk your arms and legs over to the right side. You're trying to create a half moon or banana with your body. And here it can happen that you feel that the left shoulder maybe lifts off the ground, which is absolutely fine. I will stand up in a moment to demonstrate the pose and maybe get a better idea. But if you're lying on the floor, just move your arms and legs over to the right. And you stay on the ground and just get up just to show you what this might look like. And when you stand up, you're trying to bend over to one side. And you can hold on to your elbows if you like. You can cross your left leg over your right. For some people this feels good. So if you find that any of the arm or leg variation is taking you out of the pose or just causes you too much pain, then back off and stay in the previous pose. You get 5 minutes, and I'm checking the time. So there's enough time to give your body actually the time to open up. And you will feel the longer you're in the pose, the tissues, the deeper tissues of your body open up, and you will have to change the pose. And here you can really trust your body, your instincts, and guiding you to the spot where you belong. So really free your mind from any image of how this pose could look like on your body. And I like to close my eyes in the yin poses, which actually allows me even more to feel the way rather than seeing the pose. So from here, as you move your arms and legs over to the right, so you might feel the stretch somewhere from your left armpit, alongside your left rib cage, maybe the tissue even between the ribs, down to the hips, and then from here down to your left thigh. And some of you maybe like to cross your left leg over your right leg. And this pose, I actually hesitated a long time to integrate it into my practice because it looked, well actually if you just visualize this pose, it looks like nothing wild. Well, even though I know every pose feels different on each and every one of us, but this pose, well, especially for me, is one of the strongest poses I can think of in yin, with the effects on my body. So for a long time, I wasn't a big fan of this pose, but at the same time, I really appreciate the benefits. So by now, I can say I think I made friends with this pose. And then try to soften your core muscles, and your legs, your arms, your neck. What happens quite a lot in yin as we think that we are relaxed, because our muscles, they don't like these long holds. They prefer to move. And to resist these long holds, they tense up. Our subconsciousness somehow makes us using the muscles. So maybe bring your awareness into your side body, the left side of your body, and let go. Really consciously relax your muscles. You might be surprised how much tension you hold, even though you were thinking your body is relaxed. The last 2 minutes here. So if you feel that maybe, even though officially there's still a little bit to go, that your body is asking you to leave the pose, and you can always exit early. And if you feel that your brain is telling you, I don't like this pose, I don't want to be here, then I'm sure you can hold for 10 or maybe 20 seconds more. But you really have to differentiate for yourself. Is it a good pain? A pain that actually leads to relief? Or is it a pain that really causes me maybe an injury, that I'm going too far too soon? That is a sensation you never want to feel. So if you experience anything like that, that is a sharp, stabbing pain, then really please back off. And I know in the beginning it can be quite hard to be sure how to interpret it, how you feel. So maybe if you're not sure, not 100%, just back off a little bit and see how you feel in the stage between leaving the pose or just stepping back a little bit. And then from here, just take your last 30 seconds and slowly prepare yourself to come out of the pose. Maybe if you have one leg crossed, bring both legs down to the ground. And then slowly take your time and walk your arms and legs over to the right side. To stretch the right side of your body. So your arms and legs walking over to the left side of your yoga mat. So now we're shifting into the yang side. So again, you're trying to find a stretch somewhere from your right armpit, across the right ribs, to the right hip, your right thigh. So this time you're trying to find a stretch here. And again, you don't have to have your legs crossed, or you maybe have your arms straight. Maybe you feel the shoulders lifting off the ground. There's no need to force your arm down if you feel it's lifting. It's actually a nice way to get a little extra stretch as gravity is pulling you down, where you bring your arms to the side. And here, maybe allow your both arms to be bent. You don't have to be super straight. Give it a little bend, so you focus on this side. And also you probably know that left and right are never the same. And especially in Yin, where we hold the poses a bit longer, you will find that both sides of your body need to be treated differently. So maybe on the second side, you have both legs on the ground with a little bit of space between your legs. And then after a while, you feel that you need to change something about the pose. And allow yourself to play with the pose. Just really drawing your awareness inside of you. And usually we focus in all kinds of different sports when it comes to stretches. Mostly we focus on stretches on the front and the back side of the body. For some reason, we don't pay too much attention on the sides. And then when it comes to this stretch, we realize how short our tissues become over time. It's actually a nice way to experience how our bodies are constantly changing. They change with the season, the weather, outer temperature, with our moods. If we're happy, we're sad, we experience stress. And this is something that with this corona crisis going on, definitely all of us can agree with, is one way or the other, we all experience a very challenging time. And even though we feel like, no, really not too much concern, but there's definitely some effects on our body. So it's your last 90 seconds here. So for the last bit that we have on this side, for today, so we all together, no matter where we are in the world, and actually is a great thing these days that we have friends all over the world. Most of us travel to the world in one way or the other, and now meant to be in one place and only have contact to our friends via the internet. And even though that really gives us some hope, some ease, there's so much stress going on in our minds, seeing the economy and people afraid of losing their jobs. So I thought just to use some poses to release tension and stress from the body. We will focus on the psoas area. And then from here slowly come back to center and release. And then for a brief moment before we keep moving, so we'll give you loads of time by the end of the practice to enjoy the chi flow. Maybe you can feel this tingling right now as we have this little pause before we move on. Maybe you can feel this movement of energy around your hips, your lower body. And then start to move from your legs, your arms, and roll onto your belly. Rolling onto your belly. So the next pose that we're going to do is called swings pose. If you come from the yang style, it's baby cobra. And for here, before we really go deep into the pose, so the focus is here, you're going to have some compression in your lower back. And it is with almost, I think, 8 billion people on the planet, there will be 8 billion different experiences on this pose. So there's a lot of people who feel having their legs close together gives them a perfect sensation, nice compression in the lower back, a nice stretch in the front. If you're like me, I feel again a negative pain, not a pain, but it just doesn't feel right on my body having legs close together. So I prefer to have my legs really wide, like a big V shape. And then I can relax my belly and really let the belly drop into the ground. And really sink into my shoulders so this part can relax. And then here maybe take 1 minute just to play and see where you belong today. Today can be different from tomorrow. And really again push any image of how yoga pose should be practiced aside. So the only thing that matters is how the pose feels on your body. And I know with all the different body types, for some of it, we just instantly feel the pose. It just lift the chest up and bam, like, yep, there's no need for me to hang out, just experiment. You just instantly feel where the effects of the pose go to. And for some of us, we just need to play around. Some of you maybe like to bend your legs. Maybe if you lift your legs, you will feel that it tilts the hip more into the ground and you get a bigger compression here. And then you can hang out here. But if you feel this is too much, you can of course release your legs back to the ground. Now some of us like to lift the arms up. You can do this, and then anytime this is too much, if you feel there's too much strength on the arms, just bring your forearms back down to the ground. And as again, we have 5 minutes. Maybe this is your new email checking pose. your Netflix pose, and then trying to hang out here. So as I said, today I wanted to focus on the psoas, and I know in Yin we don't really focus on muscles, so it's rather about the tissues around the psoas area. And the psoas is a muscle that is the bridge from the lower body to the upper body, which actually fits quite well into the Yin aspect, because the body, the human body, is not just, if you look at it from the Yin perspective, that the left side of the body is Yin and the right side is Yang. So also the upper body is seen as Yang. We're more active, our arms move more dynamic. We spend so much time in our head, so much thinking. It's a very Yang, very active. While our lower body, from the hips down to the toes, is Yin. And the psoas is the connection. It's a muscle that starts from the lower trunk, the lowest rib, through the hip into the upper thigh. And that muscle is also known as the muscle of the soul. We store a lot of tension here. So maybe you've heard about the fight and flight response, very primeval instinct. So let's hang out here 2 more minutes, just for the transition. Maybe you feel like for the last bit you want to lift the chest, maybe lift the chest and bend your legs. Anything that feels right for you. Find a pose where you can sustain. Don't pick a pose where you have to engage too much muscle and you can barely breathe. And just rather back off a little bit. And I know this is one of the biggest challenges in Yin, just to back off, because we're so trained both in performing and in Yin we're always trying to do less. It's more of a intuitive way to feel and reconnect. And I feel especially in these days where the world, nature is telling us how little the human being actually is. Time to be a good time to reflect and bring more focus to intuition than forcing and controlling demand. So with this fight and flight response in our body, that's a muscle where we we're used to survive. And from here you have the last 45 seconds. Feel free to do any variation. If you like to back off, you can have a shavasana on the belly. So when we need this fight and flight response for our survival, but back in the days when we were living in caves, or if you were fighting with big animals, maybe like tiger or whatever, and we're just fighting with another tribe, at a certain point we had to run and hide and really make sure that we survive. So this muscle was tense, kept us alert, and then when it was needed we were running for our lives and hopefully survived. And we can see mankind made it into 2020. So there's obviously something good about it. When then our culture, our human culture, invented chairs and prefer human beings to sit still. So we make sure that this muscle area really consciously tightens up. So from here, we make our way into child's pose. So maybe you have your forearms on the ground, you can tuck the toes, come onto your knees, and then take a brief pause in child's pose. And then feel into your lower back. Maybe you can feel the release coming out of the compression. Your belly is still soft, let your forehead rest, soften the shoulders. enjoying this little break. Maybe you can feel the effect of the yin and coming out of the previous pose, even though your brain was really screaming to leave the pose as soon as possible. But you found that it's actually not as easy because your muscles were manipulated with these long holds, and you really start to move slowly like a turtle. And then from here, so there will only be two more dynamic poses we use now, just as a transition. So we will use downward facing dog now, just only to enter the next pose. So bring your arms out in front of you. And then tuck your toes. And then push into your hands and feet, lift your hips up. And then maybe you like to walk your dog a little bit. You can really pivot from the hips, allow your body to move. Imagine you're an animal. I mean, and these days, it's actually not too far-fetched because we all kind of experience this time of a long rest coming out from winter. And we're still in our cave, so pretty much in this situation right now, so we don't have to use our imagination in a too crazy way. So imagine you're an animal waking up from a long nap before you're going out and get some food. And then from here, we're still working on the left side. So we bring our right leg. Maybe you want to lift it, you can open up the hip, you can do all kinds of movements. And then step your right foot to the front. If you're somewhere here, use your right hand and help your right foot to come to the front and drop your left knee to the back. I will just pivot around. So here, now after preparing the psoas from the sides and with the swings pose, we now going to check in with the psoas a little bit deeper. And you maybe felt like, nice. Don't like this pose. Well, in yin they actually call this the dragon pose. Maybe you already feel just within a few seconds, you feel your inner dragon, you're spitting some fire. It's incredible how quick you can feel the heat. And I know with this pose, for some of us, this pose is barely accessible. I know there's people, depending to our body portion, we cannot bring the hands down to the ground. So maybe, so I assume most of you practicing in your living room right now, maybe you have your sofa or an armchair or a stool somewhere close, or a wall you can lean against. You can lift the chest up, holding on here. Maybe if you have some blocks, you can put the blocks here or the book, maybe away. So maybe I grab, for example, we kept it in a foil actually. So maybe you've seen the journalists these days and they have the microphones popped. So I just kind of thought, Corona, right? So sorry, it's my bad way of making jokes. So you can use it as a little chair, maybe, or whatever you have it next to you, so you can prop your upper body up if you feel your arms are not long enough and you're struggling somewhere here. So instead of making you feel too miserable, really be creative. And also what I always like with this pose is in yin, there's no such thing as alignment. And I know if you go to any kind of yoga class in the world, you will always hear something how to position your hands and feet. And if you've been in my class, I love to ignore this stuff, and especially in yin. So really play with it. Here, what I like is to turn my toes out to the side and my knee as well. And I know this is something where when you go into any studio in the world, there might be a teacher telling you just bring the knee in. But for me, it actually helps me to open up the hips. So, and I know there's more people out there find it more accessible on their body. So please always find a pose that suits your body. Then you can be maybe pushing into your knee, but well, not the knee, the thigh maybe. Only if it feels okay in your body. So don't think it looks more fancy or more experienced. It all depends on body type. You can also come onto the outer edge of your foot. I feel like I'm out of camera, can you see that? For some it feels good, but you never want to feel any sharp pain somewhere in the knee. Let me check the time. Oh yeah, it's time to leave. So from here, bring your hands down to the ground, lift the back knee off the ground, and step your right leg back to downward dog, and then go for a little walk with your dog. Shaking out your head, moving the spine. And then here maybe you can already feel the difference now in your hips from the left hip flexor compared to the right hip flexors. And then we lift the left leg. And again, you can lift the leg, you can stretch up to the ceiling, you can circle, whatever you like to do for your transition. And bring the left leg closer to your hands. And then find your dragon pose on the second side. And maybe now you go instantly to the version where you turn the toes out. But at the same time, with all the asymmetrical poses, left and right are never the same. So if you feel like, let's say, sometimes we have an injury, and I know the knee is a very sensitive joint in our body. Same with the ankles. I mean, if you ever experience that maybe you have, maybe you twisted an ankle, and even though it's healed, but I'm pretty sure most of you can tell after a month of recovery and years later there's a slight difference. Even before, you don't need to have an injury. So that's actually the norm. There's no such thing in nature that everything looks the same. There's not one bone in the human body that looks exactly the same. And then take your time just playing around, and again you can use the wall. If you're close to a wall, you can have your hand on the knee. And if you find lifting the chest up was way too heavy on your body, you can bring the forearms down. So here, be creative. So well, we get another 5 minutes, opening up those hips. So the psoas muscle started somewhere here close by, sits close to the spine, one of the lowest reps, and then runs from the back through your trunk to the hip into the thigh. And you can see as with this pose, it's a great way to stretch this area. And in our lifestyle, even though we all know we sit way too much in chairs. It's either traveling, we sit on the plane, or if we're on the way to work, or we sit when we have our breakfast, we sit on the commute, we sit on the desk, we sit in meetings, we sit for lunch and dinner, we sit in the movies, and now we sit a lot of time at home, even though I feel like these days everyone is super active, working out a lot, which is great. But also when we're very active, so the psoas helps us to stabilize the core. It actually allows us to lift the upper body up. So either way, there's a lot of tension. This muscle really holds a lot of tension. And when we experience stress in any way, it might be just being alert when we walk in the street and there might be someone, might be a car coming out of the sideway and we just have to stop, even though we know that we are actually, the traffic lights telling that we have green, we could go, but then out of a sudden there might be a car or maybe a bike coming from the side and we have to stop, or maybe walking up a flight of stairs and out of a sudden missing a stair, or just watching something, maybe, I don't know, let it be a movie scene that's scary. And all kinds of stress that we experience gets stored in this area. And now even these days are we kind of active with all the different activities online. We're just going for a walk in the little bit of daylight time that we have to go outside these days. This muscle is working in our brain, all the thoughts. Maybe there's a few hours in the day, 100%, that we think, how is this situation right now gonna end? Hopefully we survive, we have a job, that our loved ones will be safe. There's so much going on, and even though we feel, well, actually I'm fine, I don't bother too much, there's some tension we're gonna store here. And if it would be an animal running for life, last 90 seconds, after we felt safe again, we would just shake off. But we humans, we get trained to behave, just to be still, get ourselves together from a very young age on. If you look, for example, into children, when they cry, when they experience something horrible and sad, they cry, they often shake, which actually is a good thing, that nature actually wants us to shake off the stress. But we humans tell even the little ones just to be still. So we make sure from a very young age that we store all kinds of stress and trauma in our body. And then sooner or later we experience that we're getting tight, can't move as smooth as before. And then actually on the long run, the longer it lasts, it has sadly a negative effect on our health. And this is something that is so important these days, that we take care of ourselves. Not just a worker, to find the right balance between strong activities and to take time out, to find the right balance. Nature is actually telling us right now that we've done something quite wrong over the last years, last centuries. We need to find the right balance again for sanity. So from here, luckily it's time. Maybe some people are like, oh God, you never stop talking. I hate this pose so much. Sorry for that one. So from here, just walk and feel the effect. So yummy, huh? How this feels right now in your right hip flexors, maybe. So we go back down to the ground. So maybe you want to shake out your hips, happy dog, and send your knees back down. So sadly, we already about to approach the last yin pose of this practice, which is the pontoon bridge. And for this one, it would be nice if you have any kind of prop handy. It could be maybe a stack of pillows, or you have a yoga block, or as I said, maybe a book. And then, even though I know books getting obsolete these days, so there's not many households still having old school books. Maybe you have, I don't know, maybe a stack of DVDs or magazines, newspapers, maybe toilet roll. Also think, if you're lucky and you have those things at home, I know these things are also hard to get these days. So anything that maybe like of this height, you don't need to go up really high. So what we're trying to do now, as you roll back, you walk your feet in and you push your feet into the ground, lift your hips up. Now you use your block and slide it under your sacrum. Send your hips onto the block or the blanket you have folded maybe, and then extend your legs out in front of you. And if you're not sure, I will just show where to position the block. If you're not sure where your sacrum is, so that's actually the bony part in at your bum. So maybe you've seen the bones, looks like a triangle kind of. So instead of the natural curve we have in the lower back, so just one level below. So we just right under your bum. And then you just lay down. And I know here it's tempting to go on a higher level, but this depends on your body height. So some of us maybe have to use the medium level, but here trying to relax your belly. So here again is a very gentle, in the same way quite intense stretch for the psoas, softening the lower abdomen. And then here you can open your arms to the side in a T shape. Some of you maybe like to bring your arms up and over your head. And then find the right position for your legs. And again here, I prefer to have my legs wide out to the side. Soften your muscles again. Allow your eyes to be closed. And allow all the body weight to melt into the ground beneath you. So a little supported back bend. And really let the weight from your hips sink into the block. Soften the butt cheek muscles. And also your shoulders, let them be soft. And let the weight of your head and shoulders sink into the ground. And there's a sign that the yin is really working. Maybe you realize that the breath is getting slower. That the pause between each breath is getting longer. Your body is so relaxed. There's no need to think about the next inhale. The body is just taking what it needs right now. So amidst the storm, your body is calm and relaxed. And helping your body to relax the psoas muscle area with yin, so addressing the tissues around the psoas muscle. You help your body to strengthen your immune system. Releasing anxiety, depression. All those things are side effects. When the stress level in our body is getting too much. So it's good to exercise the body in a strong way. To be prepared for challenging times. But at the same time, it's important to counterbalance, to give yourself time to relax. Because always need to find the right balance. Find the balance between yin and yang. The last 60 minutes here. And also when you know that there's always someone in the group that needs to be the one who is the one that stays calm, represents the one that has control, that people can rely on. People that we consider to be the strong ones, the leaders. Even though they need to have the space to be soft. So with Yin, you're always trying to give space to your soft part. Allowing yourself to be soft, you actually strengthen yourself. And then from here we slowly prepare the body to leave this pose. Bring your arms next to your hips, walk your feet in. And whatever is your prop, lift your hips up and remove the prop from beneath you. And with a big sigh of relief, send your hips back down to the ground. Maybe a few more big exhales from your mouth. Close your eyes. And just observe the rebound. Now it's time to enjoy the rebound of all the previous poses. Observe the sensation of coming out of the pose. Your hips sinking into the floor. The legs soft. Arms and legs in any comfortable width on the ground. Maybe you can feel a slight tingling in your body. I like to call this stardust moving in your body. The flow of chi, the life force, life energy. Moving from the toes, with your whole body to your fingertips. Feeling the effects of all the poses from your hip stretches, the lower back stretches, affecting your whole body. And then let this tingling sensation settle and let it carry you and cradle you into your Shavasana. And then from here, as you allow yourself to let go of everything around you, allow your body to drop into stillness. You still have 2 or 3 more minutes of official time. But please stay here as long as you need. Just enjoy the rest in Shavasana. If you feel you want to move, you can hang out in Shavasana. For those of you who want to move, you can feel into your fingertips and toes. Slowly bring the awareness back into your body. Maybe visualize with your eyes closed the space around you. And maybe you can visualize the faces of the people you practice with the last hour. The people spread all over Europe, the world. See their faces smiling at you. And then slowly roll onto one side, maybe onto your left side, lifting the right side, your yang side up. Giving space to the yang side. Slowly coming back to the more active part. And then come back to sit. Eyes closed, let your hand rest on your knees. And take a few moments to observe your body. Trying to feel the difference in your body now to 1 hour ago. And the next inhale, bring your palms together in front of your head. On the inhale, lift your chest. On the exhale, bow your forehead and open your eyes. And with this forward fold, you bow down to yourself, paying gratitude to yourself and taking time for yourself and your yoga practice. Thank you for joining.